Thank you, really. Thank you to every one of you for being on this team, the Project Play team, our shared effort to build healthy kids and communities through sports. This is, this is much more than a conference. The Project Play Summit is the nation's premier gathering of leaders at the intersection of youth, sports, and health, because it's the venue for change makers to take measure of the progress made in the past year, identify new challenges, explore new opportunities, announce new initiatives, and launch new tools, and take next steps in building what we call Sport for All, Play for Life communities. Indeed, Project Play isn't really the creation of the Aspen Institute. It's an organic thing. It was sparked by you. You ordered this up through your deep appreciation of the power of sports to transform lives, to build healthy and happy children who grow up to be well-adjusted adults, hopefully, and with the personal traits to build communities that we want to live in. As Dan noted, sport is not some extracurricular add-on to American life. It's not a sideshow to the political and the economic questions that dominate policy discussions. This is nation building. I have a question for everyone, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here with our polling technology, which is called Slido.com. Please pull out your phone. And then enter, log on to Slido.com, okay? Slido.com, and then enter hashtag Project Play, one word. Select the 7th floor, and raise your phone when you're there. Let me know when you guys people have it queued up. Slido.com, hashtag Project Play, 7th floor, and then raise your phone when you're there. Everybody good? Okay. The question I have for you is this. Who is Luther Gulick? Luther Gulick, Dr. Luther Gulick. Is he the architect of America's highway system? Is he the architect of the assembly line? Is he the architect of public school education? Or is he the architect of Yankee Stadium? Select your answer, make your best guess. You know, in some of the later sessions today on both floors, you will use Slido to submit questions that you have for panelists. If the panelist is on the 7th floor, for instance, you'll select the 7th floor and type in your question. You can also upvote a question you like that someone else has asked during those sessions later in the day. We'll try to select those questions that are the most popular during the sessions and ask them at the end of those. So let's see the poll results. I can't see the poll results, so I'm going to step aside. What do we have? Architect of public school education. Look at y'all. Actually, it's a trick question. It's none of those. Though you could say that Luther Gulick helped fill Yankee Stadium with the generations of sports fans that flowed from his work. Listen to this guy. He was the director of the YMCA Training Center in Springfield, Massachusetts more than a century ago. And he too understood sport as a tool of nation building. He developed the mind, body, spirit triangle of the YMCA. He asked students to invent games to keep youth moving during the winter. They came up with basketball and volleyball. He was a pioneer of physical education, introducing it to schools as well as public school sports. He was the first director of the New York Schools Public School Athletic League, helping the school sports model, which is a uniquely American experiment, take hold in this country. Gulick and his peers, his coalition of peers, got 2,000 urban parks built in the first 20 years of the 20th century, making cities more livable. Immigrant boys roaming the streets now had places to go to channel their energies. Gulick and his contemporaries didn't get everything right. It took about 7 decades until Title IX to really open the door for girls. And there's still so much work to do with disadvantaged populations, including kids with disability. But there was a wireframe that was put in place, guided by a philosophy of play, the name of Gulick's seminal book. I would argue that the 20th century was the American century in no small measure because of that wireframe. The generations of children who use sport to become productive workers, managers, soldiers, citizens, teammates in the American experiment. But we also know that wireframe needs an update, as the model has changed dramatically in the past couple decades. Sport has become less accessible to the kid from the lower income home, the late bloomer, the one who just wants to play in the neighborhood with his friends or her friends. The chase for the athletic scholarship or just playing time on the high school team has effectively privatized youth sport and recreation. Now, there's some nice features to the current model, and it's important to recognize this. You know, my eldest son, Cole, played travel soccer, played club soccer, and I enjoyed the car rides with him to these, tournaments that were 3 states away and placed on some sod farm in the middle of New Jersey. He was a teenager, and it's about the only time I could get him to actually open up and talk to me. So, there's some pluses to the model. And he went on to play 3 years at an academically strong Division III college, filled with kids who wanted to do something with their lives, very motivated, a fine peer group. But I'm also acutely aware of the cost of the current model and the fact that so many kids can't even dream of the experiences that Cole received from playing sports because they were pushed out, locked out, and shut out at an early age. This is our sports system today. It's up or out. That's our model. That's how our system works. If you can't make the grade school travel team and write that check and advance through the system, then you easily can find yourself on the outside looking in. You could be in the top 10% of kids in your age in a given sport and still get weeded out, no room on the team for you. I know kids like that. I know them too well. And the heartache that comes with being told you're not good enough to play a game that you love before you've even grown into your body and your mind. It doesn't have to be this way. So this year, on the 5th anniversary of Project Play, the theme of this year's summit is Think Global, Play Local. Not because the rest of the world has all of the answers. I just told you about all the invention that's flowed through sports starting in the 1890s or so. But because one of our roles at the Aspen Institute is to pump big ideas into the bloodstream wherever they exist, to help you think in new ways about attacking great challenges and about what's possible. This has been a big year for Project Play in many ways. Among them, our Aspen Institute affiliates in Romania and Mexico have launched similar initiatives, their own versions of Project Play. We have a representative from China here, and they've been following our model and introduced a similar program there. Just last week, there was a case study published in an academic journal in Japan, analyzing our work and suggesting that the same type of process be put in place there. Now, we're honored and we're humbled by these things, but we also know there's much that we can learn from other countries and how they design and dispense sport activities for youth. This is a room full of innovators and heroes, dreamers and doers. I know many of you who have started to turn around some of the most problematic trends in the U.S. As you know, the initial focus of Project Play has been on the base of our sports system, helping stakeholders give all children in America, ages 6 to 12, the opportunity to be active through sports. And for the 3rd straight year, we've seen a drop in the percentage of kids who are sedentary, meaning no sport activity at all. Kids are also trying more sports and specializing less often. These are numbers, or KPI, or key play indicators, as we call them, that our Project Play 2020 working group is focused on. Launched last year, the Project Play 2020 is comprised of many of the most influential organizations in sports and industry. The logo soup there, or am I supposed to turn it? Hey, whoops, I did wrong. There you go. Those are the members of Project Play 2020, and many of them they're really digging in. Another KPI of focus is the percentage of coaches who are trained to work with youth, which is stuck at 3 out of 10 max. So today, we fill a major gap in the landscape with the launch of an online training resource that any organization can use to ground new coaches in the basics of working with kids. The U.S. Olympic Committee and Nike co-developed the course, which is free free, and asks just 30 minutes of a volunteer's time about all that many have to give. Many volunteers are extremely busy. They come home, they don't have time to draw up practice plans and get it all together. And this course begins to make it a little bit easier on you. This course meets people where they're at, volunteers where they're at, with a website linking users to deeper sports-specific and other resources by trusted organizations. There's a panel where you can explore this course later today. Also this year, the NBA, working with USA Basketball, issued the first ever age-appropriate youth standards for the sport. The U.S. Tennis Association and the PGA of America aligned their youth outreach efforts with Project Play's framework of 8 strategies for the 8 sectors to get and keep kids active through sports. The New York Roadrunners announced new age minimums for its races. The Sports Facilities Advisory introduced a program to help municipalities grow access to facilities for low-income youth. Working with Aspen, ESPN, and Under Armour partnered to support the development of a digital do-it-yourself tool that anyone can use to mobilize leaders in their community to get more kids involved in sports. The whole focus of tomorrow's post-event workshop where the tool will be introduced. Please check it out when it goes live, which is tomorrow. Actually, you can see it today if you want. Teamwork Toolkit, Project Play. Another tool that we'll be exploring today is the Healthy Sport Index, which parents and even kids can use to find the best sport for them. It's the world's first resource guided by data that compares the health benefits and risks of playing the top 10 and top 10 boys and top 10 girls sports offered in high schools. It's we take very much certainly from an Aspen approach, very much an Amazon idea, the ethos of being customer first and line for what does that person need? How do you give it to them? This sort of inspires it. We know that parents want information to make the best decisions for their kids, and we're committed to that, and this is a really special tool that will help them get to the right place. But the thing is, you can customize this tool. It's not saying you shouldn't play this sport or you should play this sport. You can customize this tool based upon one's needs because every kid is different. Each sport profile page also includes recommendations on best practices and complementary sports. Also, original research. A key finding from the Healthy Sport Index is that kids who are playing high school team sports are now specializing around age 10. Okay, at the NCAA level, it's usually around, like in basketball, it's about 12. So just to get the playing time on a high school team, kids are feeling like they have to play only one sport at a very early age. It shows what we're up against in making the turn toward encouraging sports sampling. In fact, you'll be able to learn about the Healthy Sport Index today on our sports sampling panel. So in the spirit of Think Global, Play Local, I want you to raise your hands, okay? We're going to do a big Viking clap for all the organizations that are activating in this space. Okay, ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. God, you guys are good. You must have played sports. You take instructions from Coach as well. Grant making. Dick's Sporting Goods and other PP 2020 members continue to pump millions into underserved teams. The Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation, another member of Project Play 2020, has allocated more than $25 million in the past year alone to youth sport programs and recreation in Southeast Michigan and Western New York, guided by the insights of our State of Play reports in those regions. Ralph Wilson is the late owner of the Buffalo Bills, and his foundation now dispenses more support for youth sports than any in the country. Tomorrow would have been his 100th birthday, and I can tell you there's a very big announcement on tap. I can't give it away, but you should pay attention tomorrow at 9 a.m. It's very exciting. Policy ideas. Last month, we hosted an event at the Aspen Institute called The Future of Sports Betting. The big idea we pumped into the bloodstream that day was legalizing sports betting to fund community sports. I'm not a sports bettor. I'm not real big on it, but it is coming. So what are we going to do with it? You know, this is what they do in Norway, one of the healthiest nations in the world, and also a great producer of elite athletes. Won 39 medals, a record 39 medals at this year's Korea Olympics, which Mary was at as well. So today we have one of the architects of Norway's sports system with us to discuss their youth model and how it was transformed about 25 years ago, the key principles that were put in place. The sports and fitness industry is now, another PP 2020 member, is now looking at ways to advance this opportunity here in the U.S. Parent engagement. Thank you to Target for now, as we now have the Project Play Parent Checklist, 10 questions that parents can ask themselves, their child, and their local sport provider on how to create a good experience in sports for their kids. But much more is needed, and over the next year, I think you'll see Project Play 2020 members do more there. Today, you'll hear from Ludovic Debreu of the French Football Federation. We're so honored to have him on how that nation won this year's Men's World Cup and how they've worked with parent coaches to help them serve kids, how to figure out the base. If you talk to him, it will tell you it's essential. You know, the success you saw this summer is a direct correlation of what they figured out at the base. Joining him will be Nico Romain of the U.S. Soccer Federation, which I know sees parent engagement as a major opportunity as well. Kobe Bryant. I know that's why you're here too. You're a dad, you've seen some things, and you want to make a positive contribution. Thank you for being part of our collective effort, elevating what we're trying to do, and push it forward. Same to you, Jackie Joyner-Kersey and Tony Hawk and the rest of the incredible speakers here today, trailblazers all who know we can do better by kids, especially our most vulnerable kids, those with disability and with few family resources. You know, kids from the lowest income homes are now half as likely to play sports as those at the upper end of the income spectrum. The gap between sport haves and have-nots has widened. When we talk about think global, play local, think of it also as a metaphor as well for what needs to happen to bridge those gaps. Take a holistic view of sport in your community and ask not just what's good for your child, but for all of his or her classmates, and then design from there. There is no silver bullet solution to this. It's more like, as we say in the collective impact world, a silver buckshot solution. Organizations and people from across the 8 sectors that touch the lives of children developing what we call mutually reinforcing actions, guided by a vision of an America in which all children have the opportunity to be active through sports, and a framework of shared, durable, simply worded strategies. So let's run through all 8 of them now, shall we? Because I know you like the Viking claps, okay? Let's do this again. We're going to do 8 of them. Ready? Here we go. A little exercise, morning exercise for you. The first one. Am I supposed to advance here? I think I am. The first one, ask kids what they want. I do some things well, I don't do other things well. Second one, reintroduce free play. Encourage sports sampling. Revitalize in-town leagues. Oh. Think small. Design for development. Train all coaches. And finally, emphasize prevention of injuries. Wow, you're good. Thank you. So much better than me. Thank you. So give your peers a hand for all the good work they're doing that aligns with this framework. Aspen, you know, we're just the keeper. We're just the keeper of the framework, the aggregator of ideas, the illuminator of heroes, the maker of tools, and the collector of facts, even the uncomfortable facts. You'll see them in the State of Play report that's in your packets today. About where we are. But those facts lead to essential truths. So we can, as Bennett Omalu, who was here a couple of years ago, the concussion doctor, said, so we can build upon the truth. Truth and progress, those are the core values of Project Play. That's all we want, and that's all we feel that any kid deserves. So thank you for trusting us to facilitate this shared conversation about reimagining sports to align with the needs of kids and communities in the 20th century. Our Stanley Cup, pun intended, runneth over with appreciation. I think Luther Golick would be very proud of everything that's happening in this room with all of you. So enjoy.